Oh my gosh. It's just, oh, that is so fabulous that people really keep enjoying these.
Acquired by our guest from an old elementary school in Storm Lake, Iowa. These Dick and Jane easel cards were saved from being discarded during a school renovation. Used for teaching reading, these cards represent a transition from early 1960s, reflecting changes in society following the Brown versus Board of Education decision. These mechanical prints mirror the illustrations from the Dick and Jane books, featuring watercolor illustrations that were economical to produce, with images on both sides of the boards. While the Dick and Jane books are common, the posters are rare, as they were primarily used by teachers in classrooms, making them sought after by collectors. The entire collection could be valued between $1,500 to $2,500 at auction.
Oh my gosh. It's just, oh, that is so fabulous that people really keep enjoying these. I mean, it just gives me goosebumps. That's great. That's super.
The item on display today is an oil sketch, which the guest inherited from his grandmother in 1984. It was originally dedicated to the guest's grandfather, who once hired the artist in 1937. Dean Cornwell, the artist, was a fairly well-known American illustrator. This rough draft, a preliminary oil painting involving two murals with combination of their elements.
It's really special because, as you can imagine, those murals are permanently affixed to that building and they will continue to stay there.
While this piece is an oil-on-board painting, it contains pigment mimicking the final mural, which makes it special. This neat oil sketch contains two murals, showcasing characters that are known legends in Nashville. Although unavailable for purchase, this oil sketch with pigment mimicking of a mural is estimated to be worth.
The estimate would be $25,000 to $45,000.
Wow, my goodness, 90. Wow.
Today's show, we are featuring a concert poster dating back to February 1968. Our guest on the show got the poster from a house bought by his sister in the early 70s. This piece of art, known as the BG 105, was designed for a concert featuring the legendary rock musician James Marshall, Jimi Hendrix. Hendrix was an American guitarist, songwriter, and singer, and is one of the most celebrated musicians of the 20th century. The poster holds monumental significance to the underground comics movement of the era and was created by one of the most famous psychedelic artists, Rick Griffin. Griffin, a renowned American artist and illustrator, best known for his influential work within the counterculture movements.
One of the most famous psychedelic rock artists, whose name is Rick Griffin.
This work exudes the artist's brilliance and passion through its unique style and alternative form of expression. This poster is exceptionally precious due to its rarity. It is one of the only two ever printed, and this copy is the first of the two.
To see that was actually the first printing. It's the positioning of the word tickets that goes across BG 105, which identifies which printing it is.
As a first edition print, featuring a highly celebrated musician and embodying a culmination of the counterculture movement, this piece would be valued at,
I would say conservatively, we're probably looking at anywhere between $2,000 and $4,000.
The guest brought three fascinating pieces: a punch bowl, a radio, and a teapot from home. That punch bowl was designed by Russell Wright in 1935. It looks like the sun and planets revolving around it. The radio was designed by Norman Bell Geddes. It is made of Catalin, a plastic successor to Bakelite. Catalin radios came in a range of colors, including solid colors and multicolors, with the latter being more valuable. The teapot is made of porcelain with chrome details. The streamlined design and simplified form make it particularly attractive. Similar pieces have sold for nearly $1,000 at auction, reflecting the growing appreciation for mid-century artifacts with historical and artistic value.
This elegant lavalier necklace, dating back to around 1915 to 1920, features a design that was particularly popular during that era. Adorned with numerous small diamonds, the necklace is presented in a Tiffany & Company box, though it lacks a Tiffany mark. While the necklace is not confirmed to be a Tiffany piece, its design and quality suggest it could have been made by Tiffany & Company. In a retail setting, the current value of this necklace would likely be around.
Its current value would probably be $8,500 in a retail setting.
Okay.
We don't usually come across pieces like this. It belonged to our guest who got it when she was 9 years old.
My dad worked for a drugstore as a pharmacist. New toys came in, and I have a feeling that he either brought her home for me because she was brand new or bought her for my birthday that year. Okay. So I've had her ever since I was 9.
This is a first edition Barbie doll because she came with a stand with 2 long prongs that she stood on. There are 3 main things that you can tell that she's a #1 Barbie. One is she has a very arched, triangular-shaped eyebrows. She also has a white iris that's very distinctive. And the third thing was that she has the holes in the bottom of her feet. She's also in quite a nice condition. She's also wearing her original bathing suit, which was the main item that they were wearing. Well, these dolls were the brainchild of Ruth Handler, who was with Mattel. The #1 Barbie, including everything on display here, would probably sell for
retail setting for $3,500 to $4,500.
Wow. Oh, I had no idea.
This exquisite necklace, featuring moonstones and sapphires set in 14-karat gold, was a gift from the guest's grandfather to her grandmother in the late 1940s or early 1950s. Upon closer inspection, the necklace is marked as a Tiffany piece, adding to its value and authenticity. The design of the necklace, with its use of moonstones and sapphires, is reminiscent of the style of Louis Comfort Tiffany, known for his signature combination of these stones. While this piece is not a design by Louis Comfort Tiffany himself, it pays homage to his work, and
this was a piece made in the 1940s.
The necklace also doubles as a brooch, providing versatility in how it can be worn, adding to its charm and appeal. In terms of value, a necklace like this would have an auction estimate of...
From an auction standpoint, a necklace like this would have an auction estimate of $5,000 to $7,000.
Oh my goodness.
This relatively simple sign means and worth more than you would imagine. The guest acquired it from an antique store after reading Pete's book.
And realizing that the Peekskill rides had happened, and I said, why does that ring a bell, Peekskill Drive-In? And I realized, oh my gosh, that's that.
The guest got this piece signed in 2008. The Holbrook Drive-In incident with Pete Seeger and Paul Robinson, an infamous segment in American history. It dates back to the Peekskill rides of 1949. There's a condition issue, but it's an icon from American history. The value on it at auction is...
The value on it at auction is $2,000 to $3,000.
Holy cannoli. Really?
Good find, good signature.
These were gifted to their parents for their wedding in 1954 by an old army buddy of their dad's. Here is a collection of 6 Lalique goblets, crafted from molded glass and adorned with a gray patina. They belong to the 6 figurines pattern. René Lalique, the celebrated French glass designer, was known for his intricate craftsmanship. The 6 figurines goblets display Lalique's signature style with intricate relief work of various figures. Each piece bears the engraved signature R. Lalique, indicating René Lalique. The 6 figurines goblets may depict female figures, animals, or symbolic elements, all with Lalique's grace and delicacy. Lalique's sets may vary due to a limited edition or custom pieces. The 6 figurines goblets are probably made of Lalique's favorite crystal glass for its clarity and brilliance. Owning Lalique 6 figurines glass goblets with the original box is having a valuable Art Deco piece. With a flicker of admiration, the appraiser valued the Lalique 6 figurines glass goblets.
At auction, these would likely bring between $3,000 and $5,000.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
This charming bronze sculpture depicts 2 young girls with a fisherman's basket originally gifted to the guest's grandmother by a wealthy donor. The sculpture is signed by the French sculptor François Raoul Larche, who was active during the late 19th and early 20th centuries, known for his Art Nouveau style. The piece features intricate details and a gold patina characteristic of Larche's work, which often included both large public sculptures and smaller domestic scenes. The foundry mark on the sculpture indicates it was cast in Paris, adding to its authenticity and value. While Larche is most famous for his sculpture of the Art Nouveau dancer Louis Fuller, this piece reflects his skill in creating smaller, tabletop sculptures with a charming and...
It was made out of bronze, cast in Paris in the early part of the 20th century.
Despite some wear to the patina, which is expected for a piece of its age, the sculpture is in good condition. In today's auction market, this sculpture is valued between
In today's auction market, between $2,500 and $3,500.
How remarkable.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful...
Guest and her husband purchased the table in 1977 or 1978. The appraiser highlighted the unique feature of the table, a beautifully reverse-painted glass scene on the top depicting Mount Vernon. This scene is significant as it shows Mount Vernon after it was acquired for preservation purposes. The table is a Rococo revival piece with a cast-iron base and a wood top featuring rippled molding. The top's depiction of Mount Vernon is an early example of historic preservation in America. Despite similar tables with generic tops, this table's specific depiction of Mount Vernon makes it unique. The top and platform were grain painted to resemble rosewood, a popular wood during that period. Our guest purchased the table for about $500. The appraiser estimated its value at auction to be between $8,000 and $12,000. What we have here is called a quaich. It means cup in Gaelic. It came into the guest's possession when an uncle and aunt of his died. It's a two-handed drinking bowl of Scottish origin and are characterized by two flat handles on either side.
We've got initials inscribed on both, which would be the original owners.
The date of the coin is James II, which is 1685. Some of the typical features of quaich are
that the bowl is made up of these sections that are fixed together. The mounts as well have the scratch engraving around here, which is quite crudely done.
Looking round the sides, there appears to be no hallmarks, which is not uncommon on Scottish silver. Turning it over, you see this nice banding on the outside with different colored wood. Quaiches before 1700 are pretty rare, with Scottish silver being a high-value item currently. At auction, a piece of this date would sell for
£4,000 or £5,000.
What, 5,000? Good gracious me.
These 18th century shoes hold a fascinating history, purchased by the guest's husband at an estate sale in the New Haven area about 30 years ago. Originally bought during the bicentennial time, the shoes were intended for the guest, who, along with her husband,
bicentennial time, my husband and I did living history, and he bought them for me so he could use them to make me a pair of 18th century shoes.
The shoes, made of silk with a linen lining, feature a unique design with flaps and no distinct left or right foot. An interesting note accompanies these shoes, suggesting they were worn by the daughter of Mr. Cogswell, the collector for the port of the city of New Haven. According to the note, George Washington himself asked Mr. Cogswell if he could dance with his daughter at a grand ball, and she wore these shoes for the occasion. While the story's authenticity cannot be verified, the shoe's design, particularly the heel shape,
the way that it's shaped, and this shape was popular in about 1785, 1787.
Despite their worn condition, these shoes hold significant historical and collectible value, with an estimated retail value of...
The retail value of these shoes is $1,500.
Okay.
Condition is everything in the world of textiles, and they're really pretty beat up. If they were in perfect condition, they'd probably be worth upwards of $15,000.
Wow.
Wow.
The guest came with the American bent glass lamp. He got it from his grandparents. These lamps tend to have been made from about 1910 until the early 1930s. This guest does not have any identifying marks or any marker. When these lights up, it looks great. Look at that. Most of these have a simple base, but here's one with a Native American. This was in a good antique shop today, appraised for $1,500. This beautiful timepiece was inherited from the guest's father and has been hidden away for 50 years. It's a full calendar watch with a running second dial, normal minutes and hour display, days of the week dial, dates of the month dial, and phases and age of the moon dial, with a little sign saying Greenwich time. Taking a look at the back, we got there
7 subsidiary dials for the cities that would have been important then. The center is Paris. We've got New York, St. Petersburg, Calcutta, and then at the bottom, Melbourne.
This is a seriously rich man's toy. At auction, this watch would sell for
£4,000 as a starting figure.
Just unbelievable.
A glimmer of yellow catches the light as a guest presents a ring. The guest explains the ring was an engagement gift from the grandfather to the grandmother in 1915. The intricate platinum work reflects the style popular during that era, hinting at a possible East Coast jeweler.
A canary is a term that we really don't use in the jewelry world as much as we used to.
The center stone, a vibrant, fancy, intense yellow diamond, is estimated to be around half a carat.
Well, it looks to me like a very fine sort of East Coast jeweler. It's unsigned, so we can't really determine who made it. But because of the fine platinum work and this really nice garland motif, which we have on the sides here as well.
Delicate garland motifs grace the sides, showcasing the fine craftsmanship that went into the ring's creation. The appraiser estimates the ring's auction value to be between.
For auction purposes, I would estimate this to be worth anywhere between $4,000 and $6,000. Great.
The guest came with the green glass and diamond ring. She got it from her mother. It is yellow gold, and the diamonds are all set in platinum. Has all the earmarks of being fantastic. It's handmade. This stone is not real. It's top-grade French glass. The French were magnificent in making glass. Appraised for $500. If the emerald was real, it would be $10,000. Your mother, if she knew it was glass?
No.
Oh, she also didn't know.
But when you said, here, wait here, and we waited, I said, it's either good or bad that you get put on TV.
Guest purchased this unique chair in the late 1970s from a store and has never seen another one like it since. Despite surviving moves and kids, the chair remains a cherished piece in their collection. The chair was actually new in 1964 and was designed by Italian designer Franco Albini, reflecting the futuristic and contraption-like style popular during the space race era of the 1960s. Made with a bamboo frame and rattan seat and canopy, the chair combines earthy materials with a futuristic design.
It's contraption-like. It really speaks of the industrial age.
The guest originally paid around $200 for the chair, but today, a similar chair in a gallery setting could fetch around.
Today, a chair like this in a gallery setting is probably around $1,500, give or take. They're really rare, so it's hard to really pinpoint an average, and I wonder if you wouldn't consider sitting in it for us.
This extraordinary ram head comes with the inscription GPS 1897. 1 mile bicycle race first prize. GPS means guys who play sports, and they came into the guest possessions from.
My grandfather, James Watt Blaine, he won the 1 mile bike race. Right. And in the photograph, he's a gentleman on holding the bike.
It was just at the beginning of British cycling when safety bikes had just been invented. The most interesting thing of all is
spoon warmer. Oh. And you filled it with hot water, and you put your spoon in this hole at the top here.
Yeah. This was made with electroplating, and as such is not solid silver. It's absolutely beautiful, and at auction it would fetch
close to £1,000 at auction.
As much as that. That's interesting.
This antique is acquired by our guest at an estate purchase for $650. These two tapestries have been in the possession of the current owner for over 8 years. Originating from Brussels in the early 17th century, they were woven during the Renaissance period. Originally part of a larger tapestry, these panels were reinserted into a carved walnut frame in the 19th century. Depicting a Roman ruler seated in a chair, these tapestries are in good condition, with visible silk highlights and some restoration work. In their era, tapestries were considered more valuable than paintings, and the designer of these pieces would have been a significant artist. At auction, these two panels would fetch between $12,000 and $15,000.
Okay, good.
What a unique parlor table put together with 1,666 pieces of best Jamaican hardwood. It's quite an extraordinary piece and has inherited by the guest from her stepfather.
Your life that you will always remember, and I will always remember standing here, but I'll certainly always remember the first time that I saw.
The maker was from Jamaica and is said to have made this furniture using a penknife.
There are a few survivors. The only other ones I know of this type, you'd have to go to Beijing and you'd have to go to the Palace Museum to see one of these. You know, it really is a sort of a museum.
Here you have markings, pots of flowers, geometry markings, and various woods.
This isn't a bright yellow. It's got a slightly kind of limey, just a slight green tinge to it. If you put that next to a sort of yellow imperial robe.
The basic thing is mahogany, but you can see all the different bits of wood used for this piece. It was made in the late 19th century. It's such an incredible piece, and at auction would fetch
£200,000.
When it comes to captivating pieces, this diamond ring is a sure winner. The ring belongs to the guest's mother, which was passed down from her grandfather, making it sort of a family heirloom. It's absolutely superb and made in platinum. Dated 1915, the diamond is a transitional cut, which gives it a soft look.
It is nearly a 4 carat, so it's a really large size.
It just has a very little flaw, though.
It just has a very tiny little, what we call a glets or a little flaw to the side. It's natural, nothing that you've done.
At auction, this beautiful ring would sell for
£20,000.
Wow. Oh gosh. Oh. You
I
better
won't be
get
taking it off my
You better
finger.
get that claw fixed quickly.
Yeah.
Wow.
This picture depicts El Tovar, the main lodge of the Grand Canyon, painted in 1906 by Louis Atkin. Grand Canyon is known as the finest hotel on the rim of the canyon. The lodge was built in 1905 by the architects of the Santa Fe Railroad, and Atkin's painting was commissioned as an advertisement to attract guests and tourists to the hotel. Many copies of this painting were produced in the market, emphasizing the idyllic setting of the lodge perched on the Grand Canyon. Acquired by our guests in a unique trade, the current owner exchanged a horse for this painting, unaware of the relative value of the two items. At auction, this painting could fetch between $2,500 and $3,500.
Nice. I didn't have to feed it.
Very good.
Okay, well, I'll go put it back on the wall.
We have here a glass glow treasure, a painting by Hornell. When asked of its origin, the guest said,
An old family friend of my parents, a woman called Mrs. Smith, we lived in a tenement building, so she had this hanging on the wall of a tenement building in Glasgow, and my parents took care of her for about 40 years, and when she died, she left that to them.
What makes this painting really interesting is that
I think it's from the arguably best decade of his career, which is the 1890s.
what made the 1890 special is that it was very shortly after Hornell's trip to Japan. We have this lovely little upright format, close cropping, a very decorative painting. Also, it has this lovely jewel-like palette, which is a classical Glasgow boys technique. It's a really interesting piece, and value-wise, it would sell for
£10,000.
10,000.
More on the day. Yeah.
My mum will be happy.
Guest bought this horse weather vane for $1 at a rummage sale 15 years ago. The appraiser noted the weather vane's size and the commonality of reproductions in the market, emphasizing its authenticity.
When you first brought it over, the first thing that hit me was the size.
Although the exact origin of the weather vane was uncertain, it was believed to have come from a family farm in North Dakota. Made from found materials like galvanized roofing, the weather vane portrayed a sturdy workhorse, highlighting its practical function.
Kind of roofing, galvanized material. You can see the galvanizing on the tail there in front of you.
Sure.
He made a horse like what was on the farm.
Its weathered surface and the presence of bullet holes indicated its age and authenticity. Dating back to the early 20th century, possibly the Depression era, the weather vane was estimated to fetch between.
And if something like this were to go through an auction, the pre-sale estimate on it would be $3,000 to $5,000.
Oh, that's what I like to hear.
This is an exciting collection of Muhammad Ali knockout photos. When asked about how he started the collection, the guest said,
And I love what Muhammad Ali represents, not just being an amazing boxer, but what he did to change the sport of boxing and sports in general. That's what kind of started my passion for it. Plus, he was such an outspoken activist.
He bought these two together at auction at Soul Train Awards, and this at another charity in New York. The earliest picture here is from 1964.
The Beatles happened to be in the United States to tape the Ed Sullivan Show, and they went down to Miami on a press junket, and they met Ali, not their first choice. They were supposed to meet Sonny Liston.
This was such a controversial fight, which held in 1965 at a gymnasium in Maine. Ali knocked him out with a punch that no one could see. So now it's the Phantom Punch. This picture is from the Fight of the Century from 1971. This was the very first bout between Frazier and Ali, both championship heavyweights at the time.
It was the most anticipated fight, and at the end, Frazier knocks him on his ass, as you would say.
In terms of authenticity of pictures, these are typical of what is given to a charity auction. These are oversized reprint photographs, and the signatures, though authentic, are not original to the pictures. At auction, however, this one would be between
This one would be between $1,000 and $1,500.
Okay.
Because the Ali signature is authentic, it would sell for
Between $2,000 and $3,000.
Okay.
And with the Fight of the Century for
$1,500 to $2,000.
Okay.
We're looking at a metal collector's dream right here. This is the Victoria Cross, the highest reward for bravery. This all belonged to the guest's father, Nick Gyan Singh. His father won the cross in the Second World War. All these have a citation, which is a story of what happened, and this is a copy of the citation. The medal itself made of bronze.
Back in 1856 by Queen Victoria, one of the things that she said is I do not want this medal to be made of something precious, because it's not about the medal, it's about the deed behind the medal.
This incredibly rare and precious metal at auction is worth?
It's £250,000.
Wow. Wow.
This show, we're featuring a captivating painting executed in oil on canvas. This masterpiece was acquired by our guest from her late grandmother, who received it from an elderly friend she cared for.
There's one thing I remember about her discussion of it.
Do you know how she got it?
She got it from an elderly friend of hers that she helped care for. He had been a civil engineer during the Depression and worked on roads in the Southwest, is what she told me, and he acquired art in his travels.
The painting's style, rich colors, and depth reflect the renowned American landscape painter's signature, Freemont Ellis. Ellis, hailing from the southwestern United States, earned renown for his talent in capturing the region's landscape. He co-founded the pioneering modernist painting group Los Cinco Pintores.
He taught art for a bit, and then he went to Santa Fe, where he really made his mark. He was a co-founder of a group of painters called Los Cinco Pintores, which was a group of 5 modernist painters, really the first modernist painting group in Santa Fe. In 1921,
his works have been showcased in esteemed institutions like the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, while many grace the permanent collections of the New Mexico Museum of Art, the El Paso Museum, and others. This particular painting stands as a testament to his artistic genius. This work of art showcases the brilliance of a widely celebrated artist whose legacy endures in the hearts of all who behold his creations, and is estimated to be worth approximately
at auction right now, I think conservatively, this is worth $15,000 to $25,000.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
Musk Ox art piece is acquired by our guest on a trip to Inuit country in Canada in the 1980s. This antique holds a special place in the guest's collection. Created by Inuit stone carver Mark Tungilik, who was born in 1913, passed away in 1986, the piece reflects Tungilik's distinctive style and theme from the 1960s. Inuit art has a long history, is made of soapstone with whalebone horns. This piece exemplifies the traditional materials and craftsmanship of Inuit art. Despite not appreciating as aggressively as some other artists' work, pieces like this can fetch higher prices at auction. Our guest purchased it for around $800. Similar pieces now sell at auction for $2,000 to $4,000.
Wonderful.
The item we've been presented with today is a piece offering a glimpse into the history of Arizona. The guest's grandfather had crossed paths with the soldiers involved in the surrender of Geronimo. He was invited to the celebration in Tucson, 1886. During the festivities, the clerk of the San Xavier Hotel gave him the hotel ledger.
He was invited to the celebrations that Tucson gave to these men, and the clerk of the hotel gave him the hotel ledger that had all the signatures of these people.
What sets this ledger apart is the presence of signatures from notable figures intertwined with the history of Arizona. Additionally, the ledger contains other remarkable items, such as an invitation to the ball held in honor of General Miles, and photographs capturing the parade that accompanied the celebration.
And what we've got here is just tremendous amount of ephemera, things like the invitations to the ball that was held for Nelson Miles, the dance card that was used at the dance. It has a picture of Miles on the front and Geronimo on the back, and these marvelous photographs of the parade that occurred at the time of the celebration.
Among these signatures are those of Lieutenant Charles Gatewood, Virgil Earp, and many others. In essence, this ledger serves as an invaluable collection of preserved documents directly linked to the end of the Geronimo campaign in 1886. It's worth about...
I want to be conservative and guess that it's probably worth between $8,000 and $10,000, and it might be worth a lot more than that.
Featured in today's episode is the Quezel vase, an Art Nouveau by Quezel Company. It belonged to an artist, Florence E. Ware, who was a friend to the guest's mother, and gave it to her. It was passed down to the guest in the mid-70s. The Quezel Company was formed by Martin Bach Sr. and Thomas Johnson. Combination of a chemist who was skilled in handling chemicals and colors, and a chief gaffer. The company started operation in 1901 till 1924. The triple hook decorations and single hooked feather decoration at the bottom part of the vase indicates its interesting feature. The color mixture on this piece shows its uniqueness compared to the regular ones.
The color is nice. It's blue and it's purple instead of the standard, what you normally see, which would be a gold and a cream and a green.
Quezel collectors are known to be fussy. This piece is noticed to have a scratch on its surface, which happened to reduce the estimated value, which could have been.
If that weren't there, I would have been more inclined to say $3,000 to $5,000.
I see. Okay. Well,
Thank you for bringing it.
Thank you very much.
Acquired by our guest's grandfather, the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair. This bronze figure of a tiger has been in the Guest family for generations. Initially thought to be Chinese and potentially from the Ming Dynasty. Appraisal revealed it to be Japanese, made for the St. Louis World's Fair exposition in 1904. The bronze tiger features unique casting characteristics, such as the stripes being slightly in relief, achieved by using acid to eat down the bronze surface, and a naturalistic form popular in the later part of the 19th century. Mounted on a base of burled elm wood, typical of Japanese objects from that period. This tiger figure is valued between $7,000 and $10,000.
Today's show brings us 21 signatures from the Nuremberg trials. These signatures were obtained by our guest's father, who served as the lieutenant of the guard during the trials. The Nuremberg trials happened in Germany from 1945 to 1949 to put Nazi war criminals on trial. The guards and prisoners exchanged these signatures for cigarettes. Prominent figures of Nazi Germany, including military leaders and soldiers, had their signatures taken. Some signatories met their end through execution or imprisonment.
Many of these individuals ended up being executed. Some were sentenced to long-term in prison.
The signatures stand as invaluable historical artifacts to prevent such an act from happening again. Each signature symbolizes the individuals tried for their crimes and conservatively would be valued at.
A document like this at auction is conservatively worth $3,000. So I really appreciate you bringing it in, and it's an amazing record, and we're sure proud of your father's service.
Well, thank you.
We've been presented with two pieces of jewelry today. These pieces are works of art made by a revolutionary American artist, Charles Laloma. Charles Laloma was a renowned Native American artist, specifically a Hopi jeweler and ceramicist, known for his innovative work in the mid-20th century. Our guest on the show had met Charles Laloma in an art gallery where he was having a show.
He was having a show.
So he was actually in the gallery, and so you met him and purchased these.
She purchased both pieces directly from the artist himself. Laloma revolutionized Native American jewelry by incorporating unconventional materials and techniques into his pieces. One of Laloma's most distinctive contributions to jewelry making was his use of tufa casting, a technique in which molten metal is poured into a mold carved from volcanic tufa stone. Charles Laloma was known to break away from the traditional Native American style with his unique and revolutionary art. Two pieces of original art from an artist of his pedigree will be worth about.
This particular one, the smaller one, I think we're conservative in saying it would sell for about $28,000 on today's market.
Oh my goodness.
And the other piece, probably in the $40,000 marketplace.
Oh.
This exquisite masterpiece is breathtaking. It was presented on the show by a guest, and her parents acquired this piece at a garage sale. This delicately crafted jar originated from Japan. Furthermore, this item dates back to the late 19th century. Particularly, this jar was made by Mukuzu Kozan, a Japanese ceramist who was appointed as an artist to the Japanese imperial household. He was also one of the major potters of the Meihei era. It features a colorful floral design. Upon inspecting the jar's interior, we can see the name of the maker inscribed. Another maker's mark beneath the jar is visible. A perfectly preserved jar like this, being this rare, would have its value at auction placed around.
At auction, it could make $8,000 to $10,000.
Oh my goodness.
We are presented with a painting by one of the best-known African-American artists of the late 19th and early 20th centuries on today's episode. The painting was done by Henry Ossawa Tanner. Tanner was a renowned African-American artist who gained prominence in the late 19th and early 20th century. His works often capture powerful emotions and scenes with remarkable depth and skill. And as we can see from this painting, just like most of Tanner's works, it's a religious depiction.
By the mid-1890s, he turns to religious subjects, and so most of what he did after that time are the religious subjects, such as we see here.
Right.
There's a label on painting tagged Grand Central Art Gallery's Pastoral Scene, Palestine by Henry O. Tanner, and it is numbered 491. Another thing found on the painting is an authentication stamp by the artist's son, Jesse O. Tanner.
I have a stamp here by the artist's son, Jesse O. Tanner, who states that his father made this work.
This painting showcases Tanner's mastery of technique and his ability to evoke profound emotions and would be worth,
I believe that it would sell in the neighborhood of $35,000.
$35,000.
Yes.
Wow.
The guest presented Nodder sets, which originally belonged to her mother. These pieces are small collectible figurines with heads that bob or nod with any movement. Quite fascinating, these sets were popular as knickknacks in the early 20th century, particularly between 1900 and 1910. They were made in Germany and came in various sizes, from small sets like these to larger bisque figurines.
Up to full bisque figurines. And they would just have balancing heads that would make a little motion and to catch the eye.
As seen, the sets consist of two distinct groups. One set features characters modeled after the Brownies, a popular storybook character. The other set depicts an orchestra of devils, which is a sought-after theme in knotted collectibles.
A set. This orchestra, I would estimate, could be sold on the retail market for $1,000 to $1,200 for this little group here.
Also, the conductor is a significant figure, as conductors are often missing in knotted orchestra sets, making this set more complete and valuable, with an auction price of...
You have $3,500 worth of little nodding figures.
Okay.
These Chinese Clusani hat stands offer a glimpse into the past, serving as a unique cooling device for officials in Peking during the scorching summers of the early 19th century. These stands were used by officials to cool their hats, often with ice in the bottom, providing relief from the extreme heat. The intricate Clouson design showcases the exquisite craftsmanship of the era, adding to their historical and artistic value. The value of these fascinating artifacts was appraised at $3,000. What we have here are the 1957 Lone Ranger and Tonto posters. These prints were premiums offered by the General Mills Corporation as part of a promotion. Children could acquire them by mailing a box top and possibly a small amount of money to General Mills. The posters featured life-size images of popular Western stars from the television show, portrayed by actors Jay Silverheels and Clayton Moore. Interestingly, the guest obtained these posters as part of a collection of memorabilia purchased from an online auction.
I used to be a relatively large collector of memorabilia from my youth and from other youths, and I bought these on an online auction.
The posters came in the original mailing envelope, which adds to their provenance and uniqueness. Most paper items like these posters were not often preserved, making them somewhat rare.
As you said, they're folded as issued because they were meant to be mailed to people, so in order to fit into the envelope, they had to be folded.
A piece such as this captures the essence of 1950s America, featuring cherished relics from a time when cereal box tops granted children access to their TV heroes, and it's worth
an estimate of $1,200 to $1,800 you could pay to have these restored.
This federal games table inherited from the guest's grandparents 30 years ago. The games table originates from Hagerstown, Maryland. Believed to have been acquired through gifts from parishioners as the guest's grandfather was a minister, this table is a classic example of 18th century English design. This federal games table made around 1795 to 1800. It features exquisite mahogany and cherrywood inlay with distinctive American oak double swing rails. Despite originally being part of a pair, as indicated by the number 2 found on the table, due to its exceptional quality, original finish, this single piece is highly valued, with an estimated auction price ranging from $6,000 to $9,000.
Oh, very good. Very nice.
Presented a Haywood Wakefield desk, which has been in her home since her childhood. This piece in question is a knee-hole desk, likely made of birch or maple. It was designed by a Russian-American industrial designer, Count Alexis D. Sakhanovsky, known principally for his streamlined style of automotive designs. Sakanovsky also completed numerous other design projects, including bicycles, kitchen items, and furniture. This particular desk is an early version from 1940, distinguished by its unique feet and size, which differ slightly from the post-war production desks. Unlike later versions, this desk does not bear the branded Haywood Wakefield mark, as the traditional eagle mark was only used from 1946 onwards. The desk is solid wood and has been refinished, which, while not ideal for collectors seeking original finishes, does not significantly impact its value at
between $1,200 to $1,500.
Thank you very much.
Guest purchased these 3 vintage London Underground posters from Stanford University Renaissance Fair in the 1960s for $1 each. The posters were created by different artists under the guidance of Frank Pick, a pioneering advertising director. The first poster features an abstract depiction of a tunnel and bouquet of flowers, exuding hope and beauty. Another poster embodied classic Art Deco style, emphasizing speed and sleek design. The third poster showcased various leisure activities, including a rare appearance by Mickey Mouse. Highly valued for their unique styles and historical significance, the appraiser estimated the combined value of the posters to be.
Now, a quick tabulation, these 3 posters I would estimate together at $8,000 to $11,000.
Very good. Very good indeed. Thank you very much.
It's an online document that once belonged to Karen Carpenter, worn by her in a concert likely around 1975, based on her hairstyle at the time. The jacket was identified by a fan who recognized it from an old photo, not included with the purchase. Designed by an artist, Karen Carpenter, dated in 1975, the jacket features various characters, including the Blue Meanie and the Beatles from the Yellow Submarine. Our guest purchased it from a Hollywood boutique called the Pleasure Dome.
Created custom things, one-of-a-kind things for customers, or had artists who did. It has the label.
Made of heavy cotton canvas, the jacket remains in good condition and was acquired by the current owner for around $300 in an online auction. This jacket is estimated to be worth between
$2,000 and $3,000 on today's market.
Guest received this Roy Rogers cap gun set in the mail in 1957 as a third-place prize in a contest, where the first prize was a pony and the second prize was a trip to the Double R Bar Ranch. Disappointed at first, the guest's mother preserved the set, including the original box and...
We have this presentation letter signed by Roy Rogers himself, the king of the cowboys.
Right.
The contest for Baker's Instant Chocolate asked participants to explain why they liked it in 10 words or less, with the guest's winning entry being, "It's easy to mix and the flavor is delicious." The cap guns are a special edition, gold-plated set, making them a valuable and unique collector's item. While a standard Roy Rogers gun set in the box can fetch $500 to $600, a special edition like this could be valued around $1,500. The value of the cap gun set today could easily surpass.
I'm just wondering if that pony would be still worth $4,000 to $5,000 today.
Really?
That would be my thought.
Oh, wow.
The item is a stunning homage to the rich cultural heritage of Mesoamerica. The guest presented the item on the show and mentioned that he purchased it from a dealer in Native American artifacts 30 years ago. The figure depicts a Jalisco warrior, with Jalisco now being a state in Mexico. Additionally, this piece originated from West Mexico and dates back to circa 200 BC to 200 AD. Furthermore, there's a pattern on the figure's body which signifies that manganese was artificially applied to its surface. Being larger than its counterpart definitely sets it apart. Also, being a piece of Mexico's history, it's expected that its value at auction would be placed at
worth $500 to $1,000 on the market.
Our guest tells us that these antiques are passed down through the family since at least 1915. This tintype photograph featuring Honus Wagner, the guest's great uncle, holds significant historical value. Honus Wagner, known as the greatest shortstop, is a close friend of the guest's grandfather. The tintype process, popular from the mid-1850s to about 1900, dates this photograph to the late 1890s, making a rare and desirable piece of memorabilia. Despite Honus Wagner not being in his baseball uniform, the photograph is a wonderful representation of the era and their friendship. At auction, this tintype photograph of Honus Wagner could fetch a value of about $2,000 to $3,000.
Wow, that's a pleasant surprise.
Just inherited this item from their parents and recalls noticing it around the age of 12. Initially mistaken for a lamp, this item is actually a vase known as the American Beauty vase made by the Roycroft Group, renowned for their craftsmanship. Unfortunately, this vase was converted into a lamp, leading to drilling and corrosion issues over time, similar to the weathering seen on the Statue of Liberty.
Starting off with being turned into a lamp, so somewhere along the way they drilled through it.
Despite its condition, this piece is still valued at around.
In this condition, as it is, at auction it's probably worth around $1,000.
Appreciate it very much.
Presented on the show is a rare Sioux Catlinite pipe from Minnesota, dating back to the 1860s to the 1890s.
These come from an area in southern Minnesota called a pipestone quarry.
Sioux Indian Catlinite pipes are traditional smoking pipes made by the Sioux Native American tribe. These pipes are crafted from catlinite, a type of claystone that is soft and easily carved, allowing for intricate designs and shape.
1870.
The first pipe is estimated to be from the 1860s or 1870s, while the second pipe is dated to around 1880 or 1890. Also, the use of pipes is deeply rooted in Sioux tradition and ceremony. This unique piece plays an important role in their culture and spiritual practices, representing a traditional art form and smoking tradition of the Sioux tribe with an estimated value of
It's $2,500 to $3,500.
Really?
This intriguing painting by William Holbrook Beard, an early American artist, depicts a sly fox with a hen, showcasing Beard's unique style of anthropomorphized animals. Beard, born in 1824 and passed away in 1900, initially began his career as a portrait artist, but later turned to painting animals with human-like characteristics.
Really very desirable and collectible. And they often show sort of the 7 deadly sins.
The painting, signed by Beard and dated, features a fox with a mischievous expression, suggesting it has stolen the hen, capturing a moment of suspense and humor. The period plaque accompanying the painting adds to its authenticity, dating back to the 19th century. Beard's animal paintings are highly sought after by collectors for their whimsical yet thought-provoking depictions of animal behavior. In terms of value, this painting is estimated to be worth around
I would think of an insurance value for it around $15,000.
Purchased these baskets in Louisiana many years ago.
And this one along the highway in Louisiana before you were born.
These baskets are Choctaw Indian artifacts from Mississippi and Louisiana. Crafted from river cane, they are woven into narrow strips. Each possesses inner and outer layers. All of these are double weave except for the miniature one, which is single weave. They boast intricate decorations and superior craftsmanship.
These are probably the most decorated Choctaw baskets I've ever seen.
These date back to the 1920s or 30s. Appraiser assigns a unique value to each basket.
Baskets, and these bigger baskets, $400 to $600 a piece.
You're kidding.
No, little red and tan basket, that's probably $150 to $200 for that. Sure, that basket, I would say $75 to $100.
Uh-huh. That's a nice number.
It's nice. They're nice baskets. It's great to see them.
Value of the whole collection is between $1,800 to $2,400. The ukulele was purchased by the guest's dad's aunt in the 1920s and has remained in their family home since childhood. The appraiser identified it as a Gibson Style 3 ukulele. It had distinguished snowflake inlays, multiple bindings, white celluloid pegs, mahogany back, sides and top, and a rosewood fingerboard. Judging from the words, "the Gibson," the appraiser said the ukulele dated back to around 1928 or 1929. The original hard case of the ukulele was in excellent condition.
After that, it would have just said probably just Gibson instead of the Gibson.
Much to the guest's surprise, the appraiser valued the ukulele at
Altogether, it's one of the cleanest, nicest Style 3 ukes I've seen. On a retail level, this is worth about $2,000.
Wow, that's phenomenal.
More than you thought?
That's wonderful. Oh yeah, way more than I thought.
The guest's great uncle bought this guitar in Ohio, and since then, it's been passed down through the family. The Gibson Company introduced this guitar to commemorate the 1933 World's Fair in Chicago. They used a new material made of nitrocellulose called paraloid to highlight these guitars at the World's Fair. It's extremely flammable and was considered a very rare item back in time. They give it the official name of L-Century for its unique size.
And today it's actually quite rare to see one in such good condition.
Being a beautifully sounding guitar, the appraiser valued it as...
I would give it a retail value of between $6,000 and $6,500.
Okay, great. Thank you.
This banjo belonged to the owner's great-grandfather. The banjo, which traveled with the guest's great-grandfather from Maine to the West, is from the 19th century. In the 19th century, there were multiple schools of banjo making on the East Coast. This specific banjo resembles the classic craftsmanship of S.S. Stewart from Philadelphia around 1880. A hallmark of the Philadelphia school is the sharp undercut peghead, as observed here. Pearl work is characteristic of S.S. Stewart's style, and its value at auction is
$1,800 to $2,200. Might be a little bit on the strong side, but it's all here. It's in great shape, and it's a great piece of family history.
Acquired by the guest's parents at an antique auction in Southern California in the late 1960s or early 1970s. This English cabinet has a fascinating history, made in the English arts and crafts style. Designed by Leonard Wyburn, known for incorporating Moorish elements, the cabinet features distinctive bottle glass windows. The cabinet also showcases typical arts and crafts features, such as classical broad arch and hammered coppered straps and hinges. Despite its size and weight, the cabinet appears light and elegant, thanks to its thin, graceful columns and long, slender crest. Originally purchased for $175, its current value at auction is estimated to be between $3,000 and $5,000.
Awesome. That's great.
what are presented before us today on the show. Carriage clocks are small, portable clocks that were originally designed for traveling and were often carried in horse-drawn carriages, hence the name. The carriage clocks presented today are French-made clocks and were all made between 1880 and 1905. These clock panels were made with porcelain, and the case of these clocks were made with brass, with glass panels to protect the clock face. We can see that these clocks were crafted with the precision of the French craftsmen to ensure their durability and accuracy. French carriage clocks are renowned for the level of craftsmanship put into them and were highly sought after as luxury timepieces.
Enhance the value.
So is that the impossible?
What do you think these French carriage clocks that epitomize the pinnacle of craftsmanship and elegance in portable timepieces would be worth?
By that retail, it would cost you in the region of £6,000.
Oh my goodness.
The guest came with the 1819 Massachusetts sampler. This was made by her great-great-great-grandmother. It's a very interesting sampler. It's dated March 3rd, 1819. Notice the beautiful basket in the center. The colors are strong. The black on the piece is so pastel. At auction, appraised between $2,500 and $3,000.
This guest brought 3 historical items to the show: a framed photograph, a personalized Air Force One crew jacket, and a follow-up picture. These items belong to her father, who was an Air Force One crew member.
Crew and the squadron for over 20 years, and they all flew to Cairo, Egypt for Anwar Sadat's funeral.
The follow-up photograph captures a group of smiling airmen during an off-duty layover in Cairo, Egypt in 1981. They were on their way to attend the funeral of President Anwar Sadat. Covered in autographs, it became a testament to the camaraderie. In the second picture, the guest's father is standing with the 2 presidents.
Great, that's great. And the photo on this side actually shows on the flight.
The personalized Air Force One crew jacket adds another layer to the story.
I honestly say I don't remember ever seeing a flight jacket from Air Force One like that.
Were this collection to be valued for auction, it's estimated to fetch a combined price between...
In that it ties it all together,
yes, sir.
I would put an estimate somewhere between $5,000 and $8,000 for this little grouping.
Wow, thank you.
Guest came with California Gold Rush letters. He takes them from his great-great-grandfather. Grandfather went to the California Gold Rush to make his fortune. He wrote these letters to tell his health and their fortunes to his family. These letters are mostly from 1850 to 51 in that period. He must not have stayed more than 2 or 3 years here. He returned to central Missouri got into framing and ranching and state politics. They're great letters. He was very well written. Appraised for $3,000 to $5,000.
Okay, thank you for the information.
So he did get something valuable out of the gold rush. The letters.
Yeah.
This clockwork marvel, a French automaton crafted by Parisian Leopold Lambert between 1889 and 1900, was gifted to the guest's parents by their employer's wife in Montana. More than just a toy, the automaton is a testament to Lambert's skill.
Here is an automaton, which is a French clockwork doll or music box.
With a key marked by the maker's initials, LB, it springs to life with a gentle melody. Its intricate movements are a testament to its quality. Remarkably, the original silk clothing, wig, hat, and shoes remain intact, and the papier-mâché body boasts no cracks or repairs, a true survivor in pristine condition. This exceptional piece, with its perfect originality, is estimated to be worth
In the range between $12,000 to $15,000. Wow.
Guest came with Pansy Stockton sun painting. It was a gift from his mother-in-law. Pansy Stockton was a classically trained artist. Moved to Santa Fe in 1941, and this is one of her sun paintings. She probably did it about 1950. Pansy used bark, lichens, and different kinds of leaves. Sun painting was appraised for $1,000 to $1,500.
Okay, very good.
The lens of this piece is a shimmering masterpiece that exudes luxury. Our guest today showcases a satin glass rose bowl that she inherited from her mother. The piece features diamond-shaped patterns and multiple colors intertwined to give it a rainbow impression, therefore earning its name Rainbow Mother of Pearl. Also visible on this item is a beautiful satin finish. Although there are some tiny signs of wear on this jar, they would not significantly affect its value. Made from the finest and rarest satin glasses, this jar is truly a testament to craftsmanship and luxury. At auction, this item would fetch a value of around
for $2,000.
Oh my God.
These remarkable Civil War-era letters were discovered in an old house in Oakland, Mississippi, found hidden in a wooden box within a wall, and purchased by the guest's mother for $100. The letters, primarily from a man named G.D. Barnes, who later became Lieutenant Barnes, offers a glimpse into the life and correspondence of a soldier during the Civil War.
First of all, he had loads of supplies.
The collection includes letters from Grenada, Mississippi, and later from Kentucky, where Barnes signed his letters as Lieutenant Barnes, indicating a promotion in rank. One particularly intriguing letter is from a woman named Theo, expressing her disdain for an impending marriage to a lieutenant in the 28th Mississippi, highlighting the personal.
So she hates him, but she's marrying him.
She's going to have to marry him anyway, apparently.
And the letters provide insight into the lives of soldiers and their families during the war, offering a perspective that is often overlooked in historical records. While the entire archive contains hundreds of letters, the 6 letters discussed in the appraisal could fetch between.
And I think easily you can be talking to $1,000 to $2,000 per letter. So you have 6 letters here, so you're probably talking $6,000 to $12,000 at a retail price of what's just here.
This beautiful figural clock was a retirement gift to guest's uncle, who worked at a firm that represented Tiffany. Dating back to the late 1800s, this clock was a beautiful example of Victorian-era clocks.
Robert Johnson was a very famous blues musician in the South, and very few photographs of Robert Johnson, very few recordings of him, but you see Robert Johnson with a very similar guitar to this.
The clock had a dial with Japanese numbers. Both hands of the clock form the first and second halves of a dragon, creating a complete dragon at 3 o'clock. What a craft indeed! There was another dragon decorated on the side of the clock.
Switched from making the old-style arch-top guitars to the flat-top guitars as they were developing their bracing system. The first iterations were the H-brace.
The detailing was exquisite, a testament to the masterful craftsmanship of the era. Despite some missing parts, the piece was in admirable condition. Much to the guest's disappointment, the appraiser estimated the value of this beauty to be
Ring somewhere in the neighborhood of $4,000 in a retail market.
Gosh.
The guest came with the Winston Churchill archive. He brought all these interesting archives. 2 very nice portrait photographs of Winston Churchill. Beautiful signature in this instance, Winston S. Churchill. Great aunt and great uncle striked up a friendship with Winston. A letter from his secretary saying, "Your further consignment of cigars arrived. Your cigars reached Mr. Churchill safely and gave him much pleasure in Washington." Written right after Churchill was elected for his final term as Prime Minister. Winston Churchill Archive appraised at $12,000.
Wow, thank you.